This
So
conference will
agile
now be
is
recorded.
okay. So agile is continuous iteration of testing. Okay, so software development life cycle, it is the continuous iteration of development and the testing. Okay, so it has got few principles. Okay, so it is not like a waterfall, it is not like a systematic approach. No. So agile says not to have that all systematic process, right? Not a detailed one. Okay, so do not write any documents, anything not needed. Just you have to understand the requirement, design the test cases for that two requirements or a two user stories. So user story is what? Your entire product feature list is your epic. Okay, entire product feature list. What is entire product feature list? For example, you are working for Amazon site. What all entire features of your all mobile bestseller, electronic, fashion, prime, home, kitchen, everything all together is your entire application features, right? So that is your epic. And then epic is divided into user stories. What are user stories? In terms of users, the stories are written that are nothing but a requirements. Okay, so the requirements are written in terms of user stories, in terms of users, how they are going to use this application. Okay, so your epic is divided into user stories. And then in each sprint means what? Iteration. One iteration is called a sprint. So one iteration is of a 2 weeks to 4 weeks. The timeline we have got in Agile is 2 to 4 weeks is a sprint duration. So in industry, the standard is followed around 3 weeks or a 4 weeks of a sprint. Okay, so if your project is complex, they will follow 4 weeks of a sprint. Means in a month you have to finish the sprint. How that? So in a month you have to understand the requirements. Okay, plan the testing activities. Okay, design, developers will design, develop, testers will develop the test cases, then perform the testing and then evaluate the results, report the defects and then retest and then given to client. So in each iteration you have to perform all that activities what you used to do in the waterfall in the year. Okay, so all year long we used to do. So what is the benefit of agile then? So you might be thinking, okay, so iteration by iteration when we are working, okay, client is getting something in a month, right? So he will start a business with that two features or three features. He will start a business in a year. He will get entire product. Okay, so he will be able to start a business. He will be providing the feedback, he will be providing the changes, suggestions. Okay, so whenever, so it is a better model than the waterfall. Okay, waterfall at the end you developed after a year and customer is saying and coming, okay, this is not the one I expected, you completely developed wrong, then all your effort for a year long are waste, right? So in agile, in a month we get a feedback, okay, this feature I'm expecting in this way, so you develop in this way. That way we are good with. Okay, so whatever exactly the client required the software, that way we will be developing the software. Okay, so client satisfaction is more in the agile. Okay, so when client satisfaction is more, we get a more business, right? So client is happy means then only we will be getting. We means who? The company for whom we are working. For example, you are working for some XYZ company. You are an employee of XYZ company. XYZ company is developing the product Amazon, for example. Okay, so they are developing. So if your Amazon is happy with the service what your XYZ company is providing, so your company will get a business, right? So he will be giving you another assignments as well to your company only. So the client satisfaction will improve in agile. So based on that client satisfaction, agile is very famous. Okay, in each iteration you are delivering something to the client, client is happy with that. Okay, and then what are agile principles? So agile principles are making agile very popular. Okay, so what agile principles are? If we are in the if we are in the project using agile, we are supposed to follow these all 12 agile principles. So agile principle says our highest priority is to satisfy the customer. Okay, so whatever customer says, we have to agree that, do that as per the customer only. The priority is for the customer, obviously, right? He is going to pay to the company XYZ, so he will be the main person, or entirely you have to prioritize as per him only. Okay, whatever is the work going on. Okay, so the next principle is welcome changing the requirement. Okay, so for example, your client is today saying that, okay, this one I want, and tomorrow he's saying, no, no, I want um all in this drop down, and then I want options in this way, and then previously he said something different. Okay, so you have to accept that changes whatever he is saying. Why we have to accept that changes? Because to your client there will be business competition, right? So for Amazon there is a different sites available who are competitors of your client. Okay, suppose you are working for Amazon, or us working for Flipkart, or Make My Trip, or SpiceJet, something. So they have competitors in the market. So to stand out in the market or to make a business, they have to sometimes change the requirement, right? So if others are having same features, then there these ones will not work, right? So uh, based on their business need, the client can change the requirement at any point of time. So we have to understand the changing requirement, and then we have to accept and then work according to the changes. Okay, getting? Yes, guys.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so deliver working software frequently. So delivering the working software is only the priority. Deliver after each week or each sprint. Okay, what is your sprint? Is a sprint duration of 3 weeks, for example, and then in 3 weeks you deliver something working. So coding is done or a testing is done, it is not enough. Something should work, right? So this site you're developing at least two features, but two features user should be able to click on, search on mobile, and then see something on that. So that is, it means that is working. Okay, so that is your deliver working software frequently. Yes, deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months. Okay, in each sprint, in a shorter time scale, you develop a application and then give for the testing. Okay, so what is business people and developers must work together on a daily basis? What is, like, business people should work daily means, so agile principle says that there should be regular communication between stakeholders, okay, to the project's success. So that is very critical. Communication is very critical because all should be on a same page. Whatever requirements or the business client, all that requirements are given to the testers and the developers properly, then all people should work together and then communicate properly to have the project developed exactly. Okay, so the success of your project depends on the frequent communication. Build a project around motivated individuals means what? So every time whenever you're choosing the team members, okay, so the team members means who? The developers, QAs, and all. So what will be the team structure, guys? So in the industry you might be aware of, right? So this is your company, and then there are some QAs. Okay, there are QAs, there are some dev people. Okay, and then your client is, so your client is the one who is giving you the your company, the business. Okay, so he will be communicating requirements to all QA and the developer. Okay, so there will be the product owner. Okay, who all are there? So this is your client, this is the QA, these are the dev people, and there is a product owner. Okay, so product owner is a person, he is responsible for taking the requirements all from the client. Okay, so he will be taking the requirements and then he will be giving to the QA. Okay, and he will be giving to the dev, and then whatever problems, questions you have or a QA dev people have, they will be reaching out to the PO. Okay, and then there is one more role. What is the scrum master? Scrum Master, he is responsible for maintaining all QAs engaged, okay, solving the problems, whatever. So this is a QA person, for example. I'll write in this way, okay. So I'll draw. These are the QAs, okay. There are three QAs in a team, okay. This is a Scrum Master. He is a one person. Product owner, he is a person, and there are dev people. There are five dev people, for example. Five, six are the dev people are there, and then so for a QA, there will be QA manager, dev, there will be dev manager, and then Scrum Master. Scrum Master, complete responsibility of Scrum Master is making sure your Scrum members, who are the Scrum members, QA and the dev. Okay, these members of your Scrum team, making them uh, fully busy in the work only, and then avoid the distractions. If other team members are asking these QAs and developers to work on other work, so he will be stopping that other things coming to the QAs and dev. Okay, whatever we are working for a client, for them, he will be making sure these resources are working, and then they are not having any issues regarding the installation or regarding the any clarifications, anything. So he will be providing that all support. So in general, what happens is, so company people, so PO is at a on-site or near to the client, and then QAs and the dev, one or two QAs are at a client side or at near to the PO, and then a few developers are at a this side, and then few QAs are at offshore, and then few developers are at offshore. Okay, that way. So this is your team. So whenever the team is they are taking the individuals, so all should be motivated. Okay, so all individuals develop a project around the motivated individual. So if one of the person is not motivated or he is having not interest, okay, what will happen, guys? Others will be having the impact of his lack of interest. Okay, so someone is not working, then why should I work? That feeling will come to the person who is working as well. Okay, so to avoid such conflicts, such situations, build a project around the motivated individual, so they keep the environment very positive, and then everyone will get motivated looking at others are how good they are working on. Okay, so this is about the build the project around motivated individuals. Okay, most effective and efficient method of conveying information is with the face to face. Okay, so why face to face? Okay, so when we talk face to face, the you will be conveying properly. Okay, so whatever the progress you are communicating or the problems you are facing, and then the help you get. Okay, when you ask a person in person, okay, face to face, some help, they will be helping you rather than you ask on a phone or on an email. If you're asking for a help, they will not be coming and helping you. Okay, so no one has that much of time to help you over a remote. Okay, if you are available and then you're conveying something face to face, that is more effective, and then you get a immediate help, immediate all that details, whatever you need. So most effective and efficient way of conveying the information is face to face. Okay, so whatever problems you are communicating or the good things you are communicating, so effective way is face to face. So that's why in Agile there is a daily stand up meeting. Okay, daily stand up meeting is a meeting where you have, in a minute you have to say what you have done and what you are going to do today, and if you have any problems. Okay, so that is your day to day activities, whatever you are performing, that you need to communicate in the daily stand up. So in the daily stand up you will communicate, okay, these things I have done yesterday, these are the problems I am facing to complete this task. So you will get immediate help, okay, from the team members, developer or your QA members or anyone, okay, or from the product owner. So required information will be given to you. So Scrum Master will help you in providing you that information or to provide the solution to your problem. Okay, so this is about the daily stand up. So this daily stand up will go for a just 15 minutes for all team members to connect, and then very quickly they connect, and it is a face to face. Okay, so previously when all used to work from office, so it was a face to face. Due to this remote working, people are joining remotely. So now you may be saying that, okay, so how that is? So because of situation, that is some uh, workaround is taken. Okay, but the most effective way of communicating is face to face. So that is why in Agile daily stand up is face to face stand up. Okay, so if you are sitting in a different building or a different other location, work location, desk location will be different, right, in a company. So you are in other ODC or other area of or the building, so you have to come to one particular meeting room for the stand up. Okay, so that is where the daily stand up meeting is conducted. Okay, so what are the different meetings we have in the Agile? Okay, so the different meetings we have in Agile are, okay, so what are the different meetings we have in Agile? Initially, we have a planning meeting. Okay, so the planning meeting, what we do in the planning meeting, planning of your all sprint activities. Okay, how much user stories we can finish in that sprint, in that particular sprint. Okay, and how difficult it is or how much we will be able to take up, planning related activities will be discussed. Okay, and there is a sprint review meeting. So how your sprint has gone, the review of your sprint. Okay, so that is your sprint review meeting. And then you have a sprint retrospective.
Rajini, I'm not able to hear your voice actually.
Okay, guys, able to hear me?
Yes, Rajni.
Yes,
Yes,
Rajini.
Rajini, we are able to hear you.
Okay, Shravan, you are facing some issues. um I think there is a issue from your side. Join from the laptop, guys. Okay, every time you join from the laptop, use the proper headset, and then you will not have issues. So okay, okay, just give me a minute, guys. Okay, so Shravan, did you join back? No. Okay. Okay, what are the meetings we have, or these are called as sprint ceremonies? Okay, so what are different we have in the agile? So what are agile ceremonies? The interview question will be, so you have to uh, answer these ones. So sprint planning, in this you will be planning about the sprint activities. So who all will be involved in it? All. Okay, who all? Developers, scrum master, product owner, and the QA. Okay, these are will be invited and then involved in the sprint planning. Okay, it will be done at the beginning of each sprint. Okay, each sprint beginning you will be having the sprint planning. You will plan the activities for that sprint, obviously, right? So in each iteration you have to plan something new, so each time we need to have this sprint planning meeting. So it will be just for 1 hour to 2 hours. Okay, it depends generally. Okay, so as per the standard it is 2 to 4 hours of a time is given for a sprint planning. Okay, and then what will be done in this is, so from your product backlog list, what is product backlog list means? Entire feature of your products is nothing but a backlog. Okay, so that from that list you will be taking the user stories. Okay, and then decide which user stories we will be working on, and then estimate the story points. Story points means what? How difficult it is, based on that we will be estimating the story points. Okay, if it is a simple 1 2, the pointers will be okay story points. If it is difficult 3 5, it is very complex, then 8, like that the story points will be given. Okay, so the more it is, more complex it is. So story point is how to estimate the story point. Okay, so in this, how much complex it is and how much work is there in that. Okay, what is the risk, and what are the technical challenges, or what are the technical need, and then so how much time it will take to do that, how we can start or finish, that all things will be considered for the story points. Okay, so each story is assigned with the story points. Each story means what? User story is nothing but a requirement. Okay, so your product backlog is nothing but all the feature list. Okay, and then your user story is user requirement, right? So product backlog is divided into user stories. Okay, so your collection of user stories is nothing but a backlog, and all user stories are coming under this epic. So epic is root of your user stories. Epic is divided into the user stories. Okay, so you each user story will have the story points, based on how complex it is. Story point is how complex it is. Okay, so the general story points are, what are the story points in general? 1 2 3 and 5, like this. Okay, and 8. So how complex it is, how much work is there in that story, and then what is the risk, okay, how much complexity is, how much risk associated, how big it is, how much work it is, everything about that. Okay, so how, what are the technical challenges to finish that all together. Okay, so story point 1 means a small amount of work is involved, that's it. Okay, a small amount of work means any changes in page or any UI related change, okay, a small amount of work is there, then that will be one story point. Two story point means what? So it is bit complex. Three is much more complex, like that. Okay, so some teams use the story points as a Fibonacci series. How it is? 1 2 3 5 8, then 13, okay, and then 21. Okay, so in our team also we use in that way only. Okay, Fibonacci series, and then the story points will be given based on one out of these numbers. Okay, any questions, guys? No. So now tell me, what is a product backlog?
Product backlog, all the features are included in the product backlog, all the features of the product.
Yes. What is the epic?
It's the root of all the user stories.
User
Yes.
stories, collection of user stories is
Yes,
epic.
and then epic is divided into user stories, and then all user stories are coming under epic. Yes. So what is user story?
It's a requirement.
Yes. In terms of user, the story will be written, so that's why they term it as a user story. Okay, so this requirement, okay, for example, Amazon Prime is a requirement. Okay, so in terms of user, how it is, user logs in for a Amazon Prime, then he gets the offer related to Prime user, right? So in terms of user perspective, the stories are written. Okay, so that's why they term it as a user story. Okay, so the user story is a requirement, but it is mentioned in the way how user will use that feature. Okay, so how it will look like for an end user. Okay, so that's why it is termed as a user story. Each user story has a story points. What is a story point? When we give a story point 1 2, the pointers, when it is simple, yes, a small task it is, so we provide the story points as a 1 or 2. Okay, so if it is a complex, we can give 3 5, like that. Okay, and then it is very complex, then 8 13 21 will go on. Higher the number, more the complex it is.
Rajini,
Yes.
stakeholders like product owner is also a stakeholder. Who is the stakeholders? All the team members are called stakeholders, or
No,
client people are called?
client people. Okay, so stakeholders means the higher management people, and then client people. Okay, and then product owner.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the
Okay.
stakeholders.
Yeah, and one more question, like product backlog. In product backlog, we have different user stories, right? So for so many, I mean, maybe 100 or so many things, so many, right? Every user story, they need to give the user points all at a time in the sprint planning. They will choose only 10 first, like that.
Okay, so in the requirement, all that requirements are well in advance. They know your question is like product owner knows all that requirements in advance.
Yeah, yes, product backlog, we have all the requirements of the product, right? For example, if we have 100 requirements, all they will be in the product backlog. So if they are going for sprint planning, what they will do? They will do all the 100 user stories, they will use story points, or they will choose only 10 out of
See, in the
10.
planning, yeah. So in the planning, in each sprint, generally there will be 3 to 4 user stories industry people will be working on. Okay, so not more. Do not consider. Okay, there might be 100 stories. Fine. So okay, the PO will give us the priority ones. Okay, we need to work on these things. The 10 or 5 few he will give list of to work on now immediately. So from that we will take 3 and then give the story estimation points, story points to these 3 user stories, and then we will take that. And the stories are simple. Okay, at 3 I understood that okay, all are 2 pointer stories. Okay, so for 3 I have given 2 comma 2 comma 2. Okay, then I have some bandwidth, right? So I have got some another bandwidth. So I'll take fourth one also. If I have a 3 pointer story or a 5 pointer story, and then I am full. Okay, so capacity is already full, and then now I'll not take a fourth one. My team will not take fourth one. Okay. So the dev manager, QA manager, they will decide. Okay, so not to take the fourth one because in this sprint we have got a 5 pointer story, and then 2 are 2 pointer stories, and then we are full with the capacity. We have 3 resources in the QA, and then there are 5. Okay, so they will be developing this one and QA will be testing this. So my capacity is full, so I'll not take the fourth one. Fourth one we will take in the next sprint. Okay, fourth and remaining 3 4, how much the capacity is, that much. So that way we will take in the planning. Okay, but we will plan for the whatever we are going to take, that one only. So fourth one to take or not, we will decide after looking at a capacity after 3 user stories we have taken. And then fourth one we will not talk about. Fourth one we will not talk about story points, anything for the fourth one. We are full, so we will end that there only. So next the sprint planning, I'll take the fourth one and then remaining other 5 6 from the list. And then from that list, okay, so all are 1 pointer stories only, for example, that time. Okay, in that sprint, then 4 or 5 also we can take. So I'll take 5 and then think about that all and then give the story points like this. Okay, based on a capacity we will decide that one. Got it?
Yeah, so you are saying product owner will prioritize the user stories based on the
Yes.
complexity. Then he will move to the sprint based on the
uh,
story point.
no, it will be, the chance will be given to all QAs and the developers. The pointers we will be giving. Who will be
Okay.
giving the story pointers? The person who is going to work, he knows, right, how much complex it is. How the product owner will say everything is very simple, you do it, because he is very expert level person. He might be thinking that he is like 15 to 20 years experience. Some product owner, he is like uh, most experienced, and then everything he knows, so it might be very easy for him to say anything. But who is actually working on, they know the complexity of it, right? So they know how many defects will come, how much of work is needed. And then the people who are closely working with QA and the dev scrum master, they will be communicating with the PO that okay, so this much is a complex, or this much it is required, this much efforts we need to put into all this. So we need this time. Okay, so in a sprint we'll be able to finish 3. So that way the communication goes. Okay, so PO will give us a list, QA and developers will decide how much they can do in a sprint, and then whatever they decide they finish that, okay, in a sprint. So the pointers, each one will contribute. How this planning meeting will happen, all will join. Okay, so the planning meeting, everyone, Scrum Master, QA, Dev, all QAs, 3, Dev, 5 people, Scrum Master, 6, and then all will join this call, and then they will look at a story. Okay, so on a screen, everyone will be looking at a story, and they will read about it for a minute, and then QA will understand it. So we are already in a project, so we understand looking, reading at a story, how much complex it is and what work we need to do. And then we will give the pointers. QA will, 3 people will give the pointers. First one given a 1 point, second one given a 2 point, third one given a 1 point again. For example, developers have given some 1, 2, or 3, 5 also. Okay, and then Scrum Master will review all that points, whatever these 8 people have given. So he will ask, okay, so why you have given 3, why you have given 1. That's how the meeting will go for a hour or 2 hours. Okay, so he will ask, then that time you have to justify, okay, so based on these things I need to test in that, so I have given that user story as a 5 point or a 3 point or a 1 point. It is nothing but a just verification of one field, so I have given a 1 point, like that. Okay, and then majority, how much the pointers will be given, so that way with that majority Scrum Master will consider that story point for that user story, the final number. Okay, so majority are given 2, then he will consider 2. Okay, and based on the justification others are changing the. Okay, so initially I did not understand and I think, okay, so it is just a 1 pointer story and I gave, but after my manager explained or dev people explained that it is very much more complex than you think, they are giving 5 pointers. So I will understand, okay, 5 pointers it is, so I will change my number, then majority will become 5 number, right? So the 5 pointer story, the points will be given as a 5. Okay, so each one will get a chance to give that points, each member, because they are working, right? So they will be giving that points, that okay, so this is taking much more, this is much complex, so I'll be taking it as a 5 pointer story. Okay, yes, got it.
Yeah, Rajni. And like story point complexity, right? It based on hours, what they will base. You said, right, it complexity based on the user story. How they will measure, like how many hours will they measure?
Yeah, so there is no direct calculation about it, but what it is okay, so for example, it is a story for gift ideas, okay, for this one, and then in this story, so how many things will come? Okay, so different gifts categories will come. Okay, and then all will come, so it is much more complex to test it. Okay, so many things, so many test scenarios will come, so much of work I need to do in terms of test case writing, scenario writing, and then performing the testing. So I'll be giving it as a 8 pointer story. If it is a only change for a, okay, for example, your user story is about only Father's Day. Okay, the gifts given for a Father's Day and only for particular category, only that card to express the love only for this category, then I'll be giving, okay, some 2 pointers. Okay, I need to check for only this one and then item list all this for this category. Okay, and if in case the user story is about only about the options, okay, so in this gift option, okay, gift finder, these options should come, okay, these menus should come, that's it. nothing about anything, only about the options, or only about the look and feel, only about particular one thing. Okay, then I'll be giving it as a one pointer story. Okay, so only one or two test cases will come, right? So not measured more than that, only about this. So two negative, one positive, and some alternative scenarios. That's it. So based on that, how much work it is we have with that user story, how much complex or how much more work we have, based on that we will be giving the story points. Okay, one or two test cases will come, or just minimum five in that 1 to 5. So we'll give a 1 pointer only. 2 pointer is much more than that, around 20, around 30. Okay, more than that, if more than 30 test cases will come, then we'll give a 33 pointer, 5 pointer, like that. Okay, so there is no rule about it, number of test cases. I'm just with my experience, I'm just sharing you that one. Okay, so as per the document, as per the bookish agile methodology, there is no any hard and fast rule that okay, so for 30 test cases only you should give a 3 pointer. No, there may be the two test cases only, but they might be much more complex, right? Your application is very complex, there are so many flows available. To come to this page only, it takes 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Okay, there are 10 different pages, you have to select that drop downs, and then you will be landing to this page. Then that complexity is your application, we never know, right? So real time applications are different than the once we Amazon is like we used many times, we are familiar with it. Okay, so we are able to reach to this page very fastly. But in your project, for example, you have different options to select, and then you will be reaching to this page, then the complexity is much more. Okay, so there is no rule about the count. Okay, so here number of verifications, number of time you need to spend on to test that one. So based on that, the pointers will be given. And then in your project, how the pointers others are giving one sprint, you just look at how the numbering others are giving. Okay, so you can give as per them. From next sprint you will understand, okay, three they are giving for the complex ones, or simple ones also they are giving three, complex ones they are giving 13 or 21, like that. Okay, you can follow that same strategy. So same I told you while writing the test case also, few write the test case from like all details perfectly they write. Okay, they write scenario from verify that user is able to log in. Few write directly sign up with a valid mobile number, that's it. Okay, few write very short, depends on a project to project, company to company, people to people. Okay, so how your product owner is writing, or they are asking you to write, how your client is asking you to write, that way you will be writing. So there is no particular exact rule, so you should know the definition of it, you should know how to use it, and what it does, what is the use behind the logic of it, then you will be in any case you will be able to use. Okay, so however your client is using, however your client is asking you to work on. So here and there little flexibilities. Got it? Guys, able to follow?
Yes.
Hmm. Okay guys, then we'll continue tomorrow.